Hey, guess what, everybody? Go listen to the Break It Down show.
And now, the Break It Down show with John and Pete.
This week on the Break It Down show, we have comedian, radio personality, Sean Peabody. You know what I like about this Sean Peabody show was we caught him in a very interesting moment.
Yeah, it took a minute to get him because wherever he goes, there's a show.
That's right.
If he's at the grocery store, there's a show.
And we happened to catch him after headlining at the Empress Theater. So he had a big night. A lot of family came out. It was his homecoming show. And
filmed a video.
It was, and he that's right. He shot his video. And then after the show, like you said, there was a gathering. There's always a gathering around him. And we managed to lure him to Bayview Studios. And then when he got here, we had a pizza delivered and just started eating pizza with the mics on. And that's what we captured. And we captured a very funny guy at he was winding down.
It's reflective, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting time to get him. And he's a great dude. So here we go. Sean Peabody, everybody. We're going to have the Sweaty Balls show.
Sweaty Balls.
Yeah.
Are we going to put them together?
I wasn't going for that. No.
Okay. I didn't know where it was going, so I was making sure that I didn't sign up for something.
Wow, that's a nice back pedal. You backed right out of the sweaty ball.
Oh, I wasn't backpedaling. I was front pedaling out of that thing.
Yeah.
I was running full speed.
Head down. Man, so we just came from your show at the Empress Theater in Vallejo.
Yep.
Welcome home.
Yeah. No, I miss this town.
That was a homecoming show right there.
Yep.
And I know that we had a Vallejo crowd for you because they laughed at all your Vallejo jokes. How was it dusting off all those Vallejo jokes, man?
You know what? With the DVD filming and everything, and with everybody there, that's exactly what I wanted to bring.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that in there. I wanted to throw the Vallejo stuff out because other places I can't use it.
Yeah.
I can't use it when I'm playing in Idaho Falls or Billings, Montana.
Right.
But when I'm home, it's like I should have the right to be like, yeah, this is what it's like to be, and then that, the more relatability that the audience gets, I can run.
Yeah, and man, I ate it up too. I mean, we were bent over laughing, at all of the things. Now, there are certain comedians that go places. You hear Joe Rogan talk about the comedians who never left Boston because all their jokes were about Boston.
Right.
But you've been everywhere, man. You put miles on.
I have to. That's what building a set is about. Like, I teach a class on stand-up comedy. Your set to me is not, it's not diverse unless you play it in front of a diverse audience. You got to be in front of everybody in order to say, hey, this joke works, that joke works, this joke is good, this joke is good. You can't if you're not playing in front of anybody.
Right.
The same people are always going to tell you, yeah, you're good. And then if you bring your friends out to the shows, that don't help because they're going to come up to you and tell you were good all day because they don't want to tell you suck.
Right.
There's not like a real answer unless you get out. You have to drive. You have to go out. As a stand-up comedian, if you want to do this for a living,
right,
you have to go out.
It's like anything else, really. I mean, it's the same thing if you're a high school baseball player.
Right.
You want to know what's what and who's who. You got to get out there and play against the Venezuelans.
Right.
You got to get out there and play against, you want to play football and you're from Boise, you got to go to Texas.
Yep.
And see how you size up.
That baseball analogy is perfect, too, because you'll have the young guy that's brought in. He's brought up from the minors facing a team. And he'll dominate him because they haven't seen his stuff.
Yep.
But that next game when they have the home and home series, they face him again.
Done.
Fuck that dude up. Yeah. Yep. He didn't last 2 innings, because they get it.
Yeah, because I love comedy from anywhere, and I watch a lot of comedy. But man, it was really, really nice to see you in Vallejo. And I got to laugh at the Vallejo humor and how nobody has a full green yard. And it's and all of that stuff, man, was relatable. Because
it's true.
Right. And I could see where those jokes would work in a lot of places. Mm-hmm. But, the racial diversity jokes and things like that, Hey, Coeur d'Alene, give it up for Sean Peabody.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is when they hear Sean Peabody, they don't expect this to walk out.
Yeah.
Nobody ever expects this to come out when they hear Sean Peabody.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody does. Especially when they see my dad. Like, my dad was there tonight. My dad's only like 4'11".
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just saying, yeah, that's my son. I was like, dude, you don't even come up to my shoulders, but I'm trying to prove to everybody that this is my father. And
Wow.
I was like, nope.
So most people who listen to the show on the website are going to see your picture if they don't already know you. Sean is a decent sized guy.
Yeah.
And he's brown. And he looks like he could very easily pick you up over his head.
I've done that to a couple of people.
And and sometimes people got that shit coming. And your dad is just he's a gentleman.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
not a big dude.
he used to be a big guy. Like my dad's older now, but I mean, when he was younger, he was one of those short, real stocky. He worked at Maryland Shipyard for 25 years, nuclear ship fitter on the submarine. So I mean, he was a welding man. He was an Iron Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now he's just he's retired. So he's like, there's nothing I got to lift anymore.
Yep.
Someone thought you were the bouncer at your own headlining gig.
Yep.
Right. You headlined the room. Everybody there presumably came to see you.
It makes no difference. I know it's funny, but I do get people. It was the lady with the glitter hat.
Uh-huh.
The lady that had the glitter hat on.
You don't
The
even
one that
wanna
was
know
eating your
about
dinner?
her.
Yeah, she ate all my lumpia.
Yeah.
I don't even know who she was. I think she was a friend of Kenny's.
Yeah.
And she just came back in there and she ate it. But when she walked in with her friend, she looked at me and she started pulling out her ID. She was just like, "Are you the bouncer?" And I was no.
That lady was clueless.
She was completely clueless.
I'm standing. She was taking pictures in front of the thing. She's like, "Yo, Kenny's on the poster." And I'm like, "Dude, my head is right there."
Right. And it's a foot wide right next to you. Here's the funny thing. So since you know that she ate your lumpia, we were in there and we were hanging out with Big Chuckles in the green room. Your lumpia was sitting there. Now, when we walked in there, there's some lumpia there.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. But clearly it was there for you because Chuckles was sitting next to it and he was leaving it alone. And if he's leaving lumpia alone, it's for somebody.
Right.
And I think Kenny. So let me tell you about the lady in the glitter hat. I can't remember what her name was.
Libya Stiller. That's what we'll call her.
Carl's wife.
Stole my lumpia.
Yeah, Carl was cool. Here's the thing that happened. We went in the dressing room and she was back there hanging out in the green room. And some people don't realize that the green room is where the talent gets in their happy place.
Right.
You're about to deliver for all these people that came to see you. You need a minute. You need a place.
Right.
And so she's back there socializing like, "Oh, my name is," I don't give a fuck what your name is, bitch. I don't fuck what your name is. I mean, she was nice. So I was nice back.
Right.
Hey, that's all pleasant and stuff. And then she's back there business pitching like, "Oh yeah, I'm an esthetician and I do facials and skincare. And
I did Bill Walsh's face.
don't nobody give a fuck about that."
Did
I'm
she
just
pull up in
saying.
a pink Cadillac that said Mary Kay on the back?
She should have.
Did you know her man? Did you?
Carl?
No.
Met him tonight?
He was cool.
Yeah.
He was cool.
Okay, now tell me it didn't look like he was trying to find a way out. Tell me it didn't look like he was like, "I don't know why she keep taking me to places and making me do pictures. I don't know what the hell's going on. She's nice."
I would love to tell you that, but I can't. He looked, man. That's true. That's a hell of an observation.
He kept blinking at me. That's what I thought he was trying to get out. Like he was like sending me Morse code when she was standing there. Yeah,
Right.
like help me,
He's
please.
blinking at you.
Please get me out of this
Kill me.
shit.
Right.
Kill
Kill
me.
me. Kill me
Yeah,
now.
if you
Kill me.
She's already eating lumpia. Get me out of the green room with her.
Well, this is what she did. So we were in there and I'm like, "Hey, Chuckles, man, how you doing?" And we're catching up. And she comes in from the other room and goes, "Ooh," and opens it. Now the container was closed. So she sat down and she started opening shit and she started eating it. And I was like, "I think that's Sean's." And she didn't hear me or care. And she just kept eating. And then so I said, "We might be violating his rider." And she was like, "Oh, maybe we are." She's eating your shit. And I'm like, you didn't hear what I said. And then she goes,
Yeah,
"Oh, I
lumpia
don't
is
know."
in my rider.
That's right.
I'm sure it is.
I'm going to have Lumpy in my rider.
Just
Yes.
like as it should be.
Lumpia is in my rider. Green. You know why they put green M&Ms in a rider?
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, we told her that story.
Yeah, we told her that specific story.
Yeah.
So I said, "Listen, here's the thing. Here's what a rider is. A rider is the thing that an artist needs. And sometimes you don't know exactly what that need is all about. So like Mariah Carey, for instance, she needs 24 white roses in her dressing room and Perrier because she wants the water. She likes to look at the roses. She puts herself in a happy place. Sean Peabody needs 24 lumpia in his
Yes.
rider to get right before
right.
he delivers for all these people. And she was like, "Oh, he does?" Fucking up your lumpia. And I was like,
Was she
damn.
using the sweet chili sauce too?
She sure was.
She dipped
had the
it?
shit open, and she was getting all the shit out of the corner.
Oh, Sean's
Man.
got his mad face on.
And then
now.
and then her man came over, and I was trying to signal him, like, dude, check your lady.
He didn't do nothing, did he?
No.
Because he was checked. I'm telling you, he was looking for a way out. That's why he was, I don't know what she does. She just does what she does. I just slap her.
Right.
He wanted one of us to knock her. I bet you if any one of y'all would have hit her in the face, he probably would have shook your guys' hands.
Nice.
He probably would have said, thank you so much. I've been trying to do that for the last 3 years.
I charge for that stuff. I'll hit a bitch. It's like 14
He has
cents.
an app. He has an app. You can download it. It's called Hit a Bitch.
Hit a bitch. You pick the thing you want to hit with. You pick the part you want to hit.
Hand.
Yeah.
Cheekbone.
Cheekbone.
Or whatever.
Anvil, knee, whatever it is. And
Yeah,
just
you
push
could
the
drop
button.
a safe on a hoe.
Yeah, and you take a picture of the person, and then there you go. And then I show up, and I'm like, I got an anvil.
You need a hug, huh? What is this with these apps?
I'm just trying to make some money.
Has a lady broken your heart?
No, I just need some money. That's all.
But you picked that specifically.
But it could be a dude.
You got some deeper issues?
Yeah, no, it's not gender specific.
Yeah.
Or you can pick a guy?
Yeah, taxi cab, dude. You know, I'm like, all right, scoot over, cabbie. And then you just
See, that's what I'm saying. You got problems with cab drivers and women.
No, I like cab drivers. I like them. Those guys are going out of business. I like those guys. That's
Especially with
beautiful.
Uber, huh?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, they're hurting bad.
For real, Pete might be a little damaged. So the other thing that I really enjoyed about tonight was that you gave your boy VJ a shot, and he came and hosted.
Right.
How often do you drag him out there with you?
Whenever he can. I mean, he's a busy guy. He does a lot of radio stuff, and he's on the radio a lot. He doesn't get to come out too much. And,
Hey, give a shout out to your station where you guys are.
Yo, Wild 101.
Yeah.
Idaho's party station.
Idaho's party station.
It's honestly like the only hip hop station you can find in the whole state.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I was very pleasantly surprised. I visited Boise a couple of years ago for work, and I was really pleasantly surprised, man. I went up there and I thought, man, it's just going to be cold and shitty. There's going to be nobody up there, but I had a great time. I got shown around I guess I better give shouts out to my boys in Boise, the Hurst brothers.
The Hurst brothers.
Yeah. Tyler and Josh.
How many days in a month are you home in Idaho?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Okay, so about half on, half off.
Yeah.
Man, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's only if I'm cutting back.
Yeah.
If I'm not cutting back, I can be gone 3 weeks
Wow.
easily.
But you took your kids on the road with you in spring break, man. That was cool.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah.
They had spring break, and I was going to Pendleton, Oregon to play at the Wild Horse Casino, and they was just like, Dad, do we got to stay here? Like, we ain't got nothing to do. I was like, you know what? No, get in the car. Let's go.
trip.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
We just jumped in the car, went. They had a blast.
Yep.
They got to walk on the casino floor and get free sodas, but they was like, oh, we can't stand by the machine. It was like, no, don't stand by the machines, but they had fun.
But have some Orange Crush.
That's right. And they could have as much as they wanted to. And then, I let them just go. It was, you don't mind, Dad? I'm like, nah, man, you only get one. How many nights do you get where Dad says, go ahead and just do what you want to do?
Right.
It was
Just go for it.
Just go. And they went, and we had a blast. And I don't get to see him that much. That's one of the reasons why I do that, is that like I don't get too many times to see him.
Yeah.
So that when I do come home, or if I do have a chance to go, hey, you know what? I got this nice hotel room. We can all sit up late night and watch
And enjoy
SpongeBob
it.
SquarePants.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Dad's got to go down here for a minute, make all the old folks laugh, and then come back home and come right back to the room.
Just try and hold it together for a couple hours while I go make this money.
That's right. That's it. That's what we all say to our kids anyway.
nice.
I mean, everybody goes to work. What they say about comedians, they say comedians compared to other people that work is that most people will drive for an hour and work for 8.
Yep.
And comedians will drive for 8 and work for 1.
Yep.
Yeah. That's true.
That is true.
Can anybody even eat? Like, if you guys have Thanksgiving at the Peabody house, does anyone even get to eat? Because I can't put any food in my mouth around you. You can make me spit it right out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's breaks because I got to eat.
Okay. Just watch you.
That's what people do. I've noticed that they're like,
Have
well,
you
okay, when
seen
he's
this
eating,
man?
I can eat.
Yeah.
You seen this man? He's got to eat.
I've always thought that like the weigh-ins house at
Yeah.
Thanksgiving time
Oh, that's gotta be
ridiculous
insane.
because there's no taking a break there.
No, of course, yeah, not with everything they're doing, especially with all of them. Are doing.
Yeah, all of them, right?
Now, when you're working on stage, and when we just came from your show, of course we expect you to bring the funny when you're on stage. But when you were done, you got out and did the little meet and greet and said hi to everybody, and especially the hometown crowd. Dude, you started up a whole nother comedy show on the sidewalk.
That's my comedy, though.
I mean, everybody surrounded you, and we just were like, okay, we'll let him go. man, we watched you captivate a second audience.
See, it's funny because the folks that were outside, like those are my folks that I knew growing up as a kid. So it's kind of like when I was saying it in front of them, like when I say something like, I tell folks that I'm a comedian now, like none of my folks from my neighborhood or from where I'm at are surprised at all.
Sure.
Because they're always like, they were always like, yeah, man, we knew this is what you always did. You always made us laugh. You always did stuff like this. You always said something, right? You always did something. You was always in the middle of some shit.
Right.
So, it was always like that. Now, if I would have told them I was a doctor, then it'd be like, oh, then everybody would have been surprised. But it's not hard for me to walk outside and to start conversations with complete strangers or just to hold a thing. That's how I used to work out new material.
Yeah.
I'd be in a line at like Target or Walmart where everybody's in that one line and everybody's pissed off and they don't want to be there and they keep looking at their watch and there's only one cashier, but there's 50 people in line. I will stand there with a buddy of mine and I will tell jokes that I want to try out on stage.
Right.
But I'll make it like it's a conversation
to
between
your buddy
me and my friend.
But broadcast enough to see what kind of reaction you might get.
And I would look and I would know. And if I see somebody laughing, if I seen somebody's shoulders doing this or something, because I can only see the back of them, then I would know that's a genuine laugh. That's a genuine joke. I know that they didn't have to laugh.
They're not laughing to entertain you.
Right. They didn't have to laugh. They didn't have to smile because they didn't come there having any expectations to laugh. So when they do laugh, I know that's genuine.
Right.
Plus, you made Walmart enjoyable. That's a lot of lifting, because some people they're frustrated by that line, and you're like, I'm going to get to work,
right?
So they're not there ready to have a comedy show. You're really doing some heavy lifting.
But I'll do that anywhere. You could put me into any situation. My mom used to stop taking me places because I wouldn't shut up.
Right. You know what's funny is that when you talk to comedians who learned comedy and got chops out of necessity, like usually, oh man, I grew up in this shitty neighborhood, and look, I'm a 140-pound Jewish kid. I had to be funny or else I'd get my ass beat. I would have an easy time believing that you weren't getting your ass beat very often. So you just got funny in its purest form because you didn't have to be funny. It wasn't a survival thing. You just chose to entertain the neighborhood and the neighborhood chose to follow you around.
Pretty much.
This is just for me. I don't know if this can make the show. Where exactly did you grow up?
Right. I grew up in Rancho, in Vallejo.
Yeah. So we got 5 years on you. So like my generation of people who were in Rancho at the time are all older than you. And I was just wondering that because I was going to just try to put names together and figure out who you grew up around.
Jason Shelley, Sean Timms.
Yeah.
Actually all the Shelleys, Jason, Sean, and Shannon.
Yeah.
Man, we had a bunch of people. There was a bunch of people that we grew up with that are still out there doing stuff.
It's funny. You could tell that he was a little bit younger than us when he was doing your comedy, right? The Walkman was more your time.
Yep.
Because like maybe your dad had a Walkman in our era, but you weren't allowed to touch
I had
shit.
a Walkman, but I was already not a teenager by the time I got a
right.
Walkman.
I'm saying,
I was 20 when I had a Walkman.
Well, when the Walkmans were getting better, they had that yellow one that used to go underwater. Right?
Yeah. That was the second generation.
Yeah. That was like, you were the shit if you had that one.
Your
for
dad
Christmas.
had American Express card.
It had rubber buttons.
Had that one, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, your dad's got Discover, huh?
So you had that. I mean, I had. We had boom boxes because the Walkman wasn't quite out yet.
Right.
But we still could relate to the sneaking stuff.
Absolutely.
And having all that stuff. I don't want to give you jokes away on the
And
thing,
you had to
No, you can. It's fine.
But you had to carry a whole stereo with you. Like, you remember how big, like the boom box was cool to be
The boombox sometimes had like 3 speakers.
Sometimes it had a record player in it. Did you ever see that one? It had like a vertical record player. You're like,
play it sideways.
I still got my boom box.
Do you?
That shit is big, and it's
when
in the
you put it
garage.
like you have to hold it like this on top of your shoulder. And then people would come out and bring like the tile rolled out, so that you could start breakdancing, calling people out.
Yeah.
12. That was my number. That was the number of D-cell batteries
12.
that were required in my shit.
And it would only last what?
Especially if you put it
day.
on the cement. Remember, everybody thought, oh, no, I can't. I got to put my boombox on something. I got to put it on the linoleum because if I put it on the cement, it drains the batteries faster.
What's even funnier, though, is like my oldest, he dub steps.
Does he?
Yeah, and it was funny because I brought up breakdancing, right? Because my son was standing in the house. This was my oldest, and he was standing in the house. And he's like, yeah, Dad, I dub step. I know I don't do that breakdancing stuff that you used to do. And I was like, what? And I started, doing a little, and I started mixing up like, you can't mess with your dad. Your dad is like this. Now, that was when I had an old person moment, and I never thought it would happen.
Yeah.
Because when I did it, I thought it was fantastic.
Right.
I thought like this is the moves I used to win the breakdancing contest in 1986.
Right? Yeah.
So I thought this is still cool. My son broke out some dubstep. Now he really knows how to dubstep. So he was doing like the tick.
Right.
His whole body came in. Yeah.
Like
the
this,
chest came out this way, but his head went that way. And he started. And I just kind of like put my hands down and just looked at him. Yeah. And I was
the
just like,
technology has changed.
I don't know how to do nothing,
It's a
man.
different thing now.
I felt so stupid. Like I felt like, oh my God, like I really just tried to impress him, and he blew me out the
old
water.
shit.
Yeah, and he was just like, "Dad, you way old. You don't even know what you're doing." I'll take my head off, put it in. I was like, "Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done."
My head doesn't come off. I just do the wave. You know that? Yeah. Thanks. Did you not see me? Look, let me hit my head. I'll do the wave down and back up. Yeah, that doesn't cut it anymore.
Here, I'm handing it off to you. This isn't working right now because nobody can see this. But that's the other thing about your comedy that I really, really enjoyed. And we were talking about it on the way over here is how much of your comedy is visual. Mm-hmm. Because you do a lot of visual stuff, man.
Well, I think that's what's missing in stand-up comedy. Because when we're on stage, it's not just about what we're saying.
Yeah.
Because the more you can give them a visual, the right facial expression, the right way that you move your eyes, the right way you move your mouth,
right?
It actually eliminates less than what you don't have to say as much. Because like if I look at you, most people can talk visually,
right?
Like I have friends that I don't have to say nothing to. I can just look at them and give them a couple of looks without saying, and they knew exactly what I'm talking about, and we'll go.
Yeah.
Everybody has.
Oh
that.
Man, a couple of your biggest laughs were just a look.
Yep.
Yeah.
And man, and
So
they were precious.
The question is, and you don't have to answer, you don't have to give all the trade secrets up, but how much time do you work on that, or do you just have an innate sense for where the eyebrows need to be? Or
no, it comes along with just regular conversations with people. Like if I'm talking to you,
right?
Just if I will start using my hands,
right?
And at that time, I'm practicing.
Right.
Every time I'm talking to people, I'm practicing because I want to make sure that when I'm talking to somebody that they understand exactly what I'm saying so I don't have to repeat myself. Same thing with it on stage. It's like if I try to make it as clear as possible. And if I put that instinct in there where I can look at them and they not just that I said it, but now boom, they get it to where they go, that's why he looked like that. He put his eyebrow up because that's what I would have done. Mm-hmm. But it adds that emphasis on it. Because I think comedy is not just audio. I think it's a lot of visual. There's a lot. I knew comedians. There was a comedian named Ross Turner from San Francisco. And Ross Turner, he would go on stage for the first minute and 30 seconds. He wouldn't say anything. And he would have them laughing within 20 seconds.
Wow.
And he wouldn't say nothing. He would just do all facial expressions. And it would look like he was going to start talking. And then he would kind of pull himself. And then... But everything
would
would
think
be,
about it or whatever,
right.
and he was,
and he would pull himself
just kept
back,
you going.
and it kept you to where you were like, he's not going to do it. Okay, okay, he's not going to do it
this time.
Right?
No,
that's brilliant. You know, actually, this is right along the same lines where you're creating that emotional movement that you have to create a joke or drama or whatever it's going to be. And one of the things that John will do sometimes, he'll take the outtakes from our show, like if I'm saying or like or and he'll pull all those out, and they're the beginnings of sentences. And so he'll just play them all in a sequence. And it's all English words.
We never posted it, but
it's so off-putting. You have to laugh at it because you have to react to it. And there's not one single punchline in the whole thing. It's just a bunch of garbage words that are extras. And it makes you several times just absolutely slap the table and laugh. We'll have to play it for you later on.
Yeah. How much do you watch the news?
How much do I watch the news? That's kind of out there.
It is, because I'm curious to know how much that informs your act. Because your act seems like there was a lot of nostalgia, but it was current. And this was, and you had just before the middle was Roger Rod,
right? And
he was funny, but it seemed like your stuff was a little more nostalgic, but at the same time a little more current.
It's not current. It's still the same stuff. It's still the same things. It's just that it's the way you say it and the way you deliver it to them is how they're going to interpret that. Okay. So I delivered it to you, and that was your interpretation of, hey, that sounded new, which wasn't. It was just the way I told it to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what you say, but how you say it.
Sure.
You know, if I tell you I love you, if I just say, hey, man, I love you, you'd be like, all right, cool, I love you. But if I looked you dead in your eyes and I fell just madly and I looked you.
I'm having a moment right now.
And I said, I love you. It would be a whole different feeling.
It is a whole different feeling in my nipple.
But you can use that, yeah. But you can use that same feeling, and you can use it in many different ways. It doesn't only have to come off that way.
Yeah.
I was able to say 3 words, and I pushed you in a direction to think this way.
Right.
So all I got to do now is take the rest of my stuff and the way I can say it, and I can push you this way, or I can push you this way.
Yeah.
If I want you to make you think that it's current, it can be current. I can make anything sound current. I could take a World Series that was won in 1940. I could tell you a story to make it sound like that World Series happened yesterday.
Yeah.
You also used your kids too to create the nostalgia, the gap there. Where they talked about a phone versus what you had to do.
Right.
So you were able to use them as a vehicle for the same thing, and then you're right. You used the gestures.
Right.
Use the inflection. Yeah, it was excellent.
I might be quiet if I was your kid, because I'd be like, man, if I do this, it's going to end up in Pops' act.
See, now,
I need a good plan.
My daughter, she don't mind.
Yeah.
She wants to be on stage. Actually, my daughter has closed out one of my shows.
Wow.
Nice.
When she was 9 years old, 10 years old. I think she was 9. She came up at the end of my show to tell a couple of mama jokes, because that's all she knows is mama jokes.
Right.
But she wanted to go up and tell jokes. And my 3 boys, it was like, no way, I ain't going on stage. But my daughter, she's just like her old man.
Yeah.
She's like, nope, if you going on stage, I want to go up there. Had no problem with it. We had a sold out house. She came up at the end and she stood there. She was like, yo, Mom, so hairy. The only language she speaks is Wookiee. And the crowd went crazy.
Ate her up for
right. Yeah. And it's on YouTube. I put it on YouTube so that everybody can see her go up there and do her thing. But she's like her dad. She wants to go, and she will purposely come up to me and tell me things knowing that I'm going to put it in my act.
Right. She's writing for you.
Right. See, that's pretty
Way
much.
to be, man. See, a lot of people, when families used to be real big, you used to hope for a lot of sons because they'd be farmhands, because you needed help bringing the crops in.
No,
and now you got a daughter,
little girl.
She's bringing the crops in for you.
The thing is that when I was raised, I didn't have any brothers. I have all sisters. All my cousins on my dad's side are all girls. There's no boys on nothing.
It's just you.
It's just me. So I was raised by women. I was buying maxi pads since I was 6. I know how to get them. I know how to buy them. I know not to go get the wings because they like to bunch shit up in the middle. Like, I know how to do shit. Like, even when I was talking about it tonight, when I said I didn't know that there was a sticky side, of course I knew there was a sticky side.
Right.
I always know there's a sticky side.
Yeah.
But letting folks know that I didn't know there was a sticky side makes it that much more funnier.
Misdirection.
Right. The misdirection is the best tool to a comedian.
Yeah.
I think. To get them to think one thing and to flip it onto the different side is fantastic.
That's how you close the show with a joke like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody knew how it was. I didn't even know that when that gentleman told me that joke.
Yeah.
I literally spit my drink out because I knew the dad was coming.
Yeah.
You know, the dad was watching porn.
Yeah.
Okay, slap him. And he was like, "See, he is your son." I went, "Oh no!" Like, it just boom. Yeah, my boys are the quiet ones. My daughter is the loudest one. But I know how much women gossip. I know how much women tell stories. I know how men, we are not as creative as women are when it comes to gossip.
Yeah.
That's why.
That says a lot about your act now that you mention it, because you have, I'd say, an inherent sensitivity to the human experience that you probably got because you were raised around all women and they were in tune with.
My mom's pretty in tune with that. Like, she was a big part in raising me. To listen to them, to hear them, to go. I'm not the easiest when girls tell me things and they try to say, oh, this, that. Like, I know when she's lying. I know when she's telling the truth.
You've heard it all.
I know when and it's not that I've heard it all. I know what to listen for, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not that I can hear. It's just that I know what to listen for. Like if they tell you one thing, then that means they was trying to direct you away from something else. Or if they bring you to something else and they were trying to say something else. Or if they were talking directly, they won't talk directly.
Wow.
About somebody.
Yeah.
But
I grew up with one brother.
How was that?
We were just a bunch of doofuses, man. We were goofing around all the time. I didn't know there was a sticky side. I've been married. I'll be married 20 years this year, man.
Wow. One
of the things that when we first got married, I said, well, I'm going to do all that I can. I'm going to do all that I can to be right and all of this stuff. But there's a flip side, and there's really just one expectation is I don't want to buy feminine products.
Why? You
so
scared?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm chicken shit. I
Like
don't want to go
He
in there.
might turn lady
Man,
on
check
her.
Buy
that,
feminine
man.
products. Here's what I will
We need
do.
more. We need
I
more
will
males in
make
that
sure
aisle.
that you have all of the feminine products you need, and we will get them at Costco. All I ask is that you don't run out in the middle of the night, and be prepared.
You gonna get Kirkland maxi pads?
I guess, man. Yeah,
They don't cover
I
nothing.
guess.
The Kirklands.
They come by the pallet though. I just want the pallet because I don't want to be running out in the middle of the. Oh, it's 9:30. I'm in the middle of watching my show, and you need me to go to Safeway and to the feminine products. No, I don't want to do that.
Why? You need to do that, man. You need to stand up for men in that aisle.
Really?
Because we don't get no respect in that aisle.
Should we have a
We get
protest?
sent to that aisle by our ladies.
Let's
Our
go
ladies
block the
send us
bridge.
there, but they never ever teach us how to shop in that aisle. They just say, go there and grab this. And then we don't want to do it.
Yep.
Like you just said, you don't want to do it.
No, I
You
don't
don't
wanna
want to be
do
in
that.
that aisle. Most guys don't. Most guys, they already know what they're grabbing, so they don't even have to look. They just go down 3 steps in, look up, boom,
It's
second
that
shelf,
one, it's
boom,
that
boom.
color, it's that box, bam,
Yep.
I got it.
It's got to be the pink with the blue. It's got to be the blue with the pink.
So
It's got to be the
you're
ultra
saying
thin
that
long.
the discerning gentleman should know
Yes.
the difference between the products in that aisle.
Yes. Because I think that would totally throw off the female species.
Part of it too is that it's called your period. It doesn't sound. I like to call it the blessing because it's the gift of life. It's just we passed it up this month. No thanks. No thanks this month. It's just the blessing. And if you called it that, it wouldn't be so horrible.
Well, then what if you got what do you call it when it didn't come?
The gift.
So it goes from the blessing to the gift?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump off a bridge now. I'm going to leave you two to do this while I jump right off a bridge. Man.
The blessing, the gift. What if nothing, just if it goes neither
Oh,
way?
like nothing shows up? I don't know. I don't know what you call that. Oops. I don't know.
Oops.
The next 10 minutes of this podcast are going to be brought to you by our dicks. We're going to talk about our dicks for the next 10 minutes. Please, let's talk about them.
If you guys want to, I'm good. There ain't too much to talk about on my side.
I do want to say this. I do want to say this. Milton Berle. Do you know the story about Milton Berle?
I don't know his story. No.
He was reputed to have
The sausage.
He was gifted. You know who Milton Berle is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was
You're
gifted?
a comedian. Yes. Supposedly he was quite gifted in the downstairs department. And somebody called him out, I think maybe it was like Dick Gregory was hosting something at the Playboy Mansion and said, "Hey, I heard that at a party somebody called you out and you pulled it out right at the party. It was a big Hollywood party." And he said, "I only pulled out enough to win."
Wow. Wow.
That's a great punchline.
It is a great punchline.
He
Anyway.
pulled it all the way out. That was just a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Burt
don't know.
Ward was
I
that
wasn't
way
there.
too. Did you know that?
Burt Ward.
The Robin.
Burt Ward.
Burt Ward and Adam West. Yeah, you should Google that up, dude. Burt Ward was very well endowed.
Wow.
They actually had to strap him down when they put him in the shorts.
Wow.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
Boy
glad-
Wonder blew out Batman. Like that was
I'm glad I lived today on this date
Yeah.
so that I could know that piece of information because that's funny as shit right there.
yeah, Batman was nothing compared
Not
to
Batman,
Yeah.
Robin.
Robin.
Robin was breaking them off.
Yep.
And then you got cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation. He actually put a water bottle in his pants, and it wasn't part of the deal.
In that scene where he's wearing the white pants
they're
and they're
walking
going
through
Christmas
Walmart.
shopping and buying
Yeah.
dog food. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh
Randy
yeah.
Quaid.
During Christmas vacation, yeah.
Hey, Clark.
Yeah.
Because
Get
he put
yourself
he
something
put the
nice.
light bulbs and then he put the dog food on top of the light bulbs.
Exactly
right.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So watch him walk around. He's got a water bottle in his pants, and it's
It's like literally in his pants.
yeah. So once you see it, you're like, oh shit, yeah. You can't it's always there now. Like you'll have to pay attention to it next time you see it.
So where did he get the
hilarious.
water bottle from? From the hotels he didn't pay the bills at?
As the aliens were chasing him.
That's right.
That poor bastard.
I don't know how many hotels he ran out on. Didn't he do a lot of them like that?
I don't know.
He got in trouble for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he tried to run to Canada, and Canada's like, hey man, no thanks.
Yeah, we
He's
got
like, "What's
hotels
that
up here too. and We're not trying to
We don't
see
want you
up
here, eh?
Man.
If you like the show,
And you know you do.
send us some pictures of your boobies.
Don't do that. Support the show.
There are 3 ways you can support us.
Number 1, go to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And leave a 5-star rating and review.
It helps with the show metrics and helps us get better placement. Number 2,
Visit our website,
www.breakitdownshow.com.
We've got an Amazon and an eBay link.
Same Amazon, same eBay you know and love, but they give us a little kickback when you get to their site from ours. And number 3, leave comments about the shows that you like. We want to know what you think, how you feel.
Tell us how to make the show better. We greatly appreciate it.
Now back to the show.
We like boobies.
So how many miles do you do a year, man?
I couldn't even tell you.
Good gracious.
I couldn't even tell you the last.
How far do you go?
I go all over. I go all over the world. Japan.
Yeah.
Doing Italy and all that this year. I'm supposed to be doing Italy this year.
Wow.
So if I get on that one, I'm doing Japan again. I'm going back overseas again for the troops in November for the Marine Corps birthday.
Wow.
It'll be my 3rd Marine Corps birthday that I did with this group because the general that's still out there, or the colonel, excuse me, requested me last year. And
Who's still out where?
There.
Where exactly?
Okinawa.
Okinawa. Wow.
Right on Camp Kinser.
They're not moving that guy to Guam, huh?
Mm-mm.
A lot of the Marines on Okinawa are moving to Guam.
Really?
Yeah, like 30,000 of them.
Well, ain't all of them.
No, that's a good number though.
Yeah.
It is kind of crazy that we're still in Okinawa, though.
Yeah.
Like the reason why Okinawa is even known is because we're there. Otherwise, it would just be some
Somebody we never heard about.
distant island. Yeah, like it's not part of Japan. I mean, it's part of Japan, but it's not part of Japan. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of.
That's why we got to be out there though.
Yeah, no, it's strategic. It's important for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a blast doing that. I like playing for the troops. I'm a Marine myself. I was like, it's nice being in front of other Marines.
Well, that may be one of the things that allows you to connect with that audience, but we've heard it over and over again. We had a guy named Patrick Sieben on our show. He's a musician, and he's got a residency in Vegas at the Aria. Or did he move? I think he moved to the Monte Carlo.
Yeah, he did. He moved for sure. I don't know if it's Monte Carlo or not, but he moved. He got a better gig.
He also said he went to somewhere and played for. We made fun of him because he didn't go to Iraq.
He went
didn't
to
go
Finland.
He went to Finland. He played at a base on
He went to
Finland.
Kuwait.
In Finland, yeah.
And so I gave him the business for a minute because I'm a former service member too. He had been able to work out the actual wartime, the war place, like going out and doing his act. He's a singer songwriter,
but his observation. I mean, we said he's kind of nice with the ladies. So we were like, well, so what is it when you go out there with a bunch of dudes? And he was like, man, I have a great time. That's an appreciative audience because they're out there working, man. And you go out there and you give them some little piece of home and a chance to have a good time in the midst of being out there working.
It's so crazy because that's exactly what happens when you go.
Yeah.
Like it don't matter who you are. You could be, your name could be Stephen Huffleberry from Utah. They don't give a shit. If you're there, you're from the States, they're coming.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they'll come. Huffleberry's here. Who? I don't know. From
But he's
Utah.
from somewhere.
You will see people out there with Huffleberry shirts. Like even Huffleberry don't even know where they got the shirts at, but they don't care. It's
Bootleg
like
Huffleberry shirts.
But he don't even have one. He was everybody knows me. I don't even know them. It's like no, it's not that. It's just that they like anybody from the States. You remind them of back home. They're going. You know what? When they're out there, when the boys and girls are out there serving, they don't get to see back home.
Right.
And, they get letters from back home. They get emails. They can Skype and they get stuff like that. But when something physically is there from back home, they want to be around it.
Yeah.
So like when I go out there, I'll pack it out. Not just because I'm a former Marine, but like they'll come out to every single show, and then they'll go get their other folks, and they'll come back to the second show or the third show, and they'll just be like, "Oh, we're here. I know we were here yesterday, but I went and grabbed everybody else from my unit. Now we're here on this one," and it turns out like that.
What you
all
do in
time.
the Marines?
I was a PMI.
So how did you go from the Marines to doing comedy?
I was dared.
All right. I love this.
I was dared.
Yeah.
So
you went up because somebody just said, "Man,
we were at. I was
talking your shit
as a
and go
PM
up."
as a PMI. I taught marksmanship in the Marine Corps. I was a marksmanship instructor. Every time I give a class, I would tell jokes during my class because I was like, you know what, these dudes are walking around with loaded weapons, so I want them in the right state of mind. I don't want them coming here with issues and shit, and then the next thing you know, they're locking and loading, and they're shooting everybody around them. I always told jokes before my classes. So when we got out there to go shoot, everybody was in a good state of mind. Everybody was healthy. They'd come back, "Hey, Corporal Peabody, tell me their joke again. I want to laugh." And then I'd make them laugh, and boom, we go up and they shoot good. There was a coach from another unit that was on one of the targets, and he came down to me and he was like, "Hey, man, all your shooters here say that you're a funny guy and you do all that." I'm like, "I'm okay." And he was like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing stand-up?" And I was like, yeah, I thought about it, you know. And he was like, well, if you come out here to the firehouse in Oceanside Boulevard, right there in Oceanside, he's like, come out there tonight. I'll give you 7 minutes on stage. And I just like my unit already heard it. So everybody in my unit came out to the show, to my first show.
Get down.
So they're all sitting in the audience. Now I got to do it.
Right.
But when they asked
you can't
me,
chicken out now.
No, it's done. It's already done. Once he already said, he gave me the time, like everybody in the unit was just like, yeah, we're going to be there. You better go up, Sean.
That's right.
And
better
did you have any minutes prepared?
No.
I
had shit prepared.
So what'd you do? Did you just go up and tell like the eight jokes you knew?
I didn't even have 8 jokes. I had I had 1 joke. I asked the audience how they were doing 8 times before I even started.
Wow.
I was just up there just going, how y'all doing? How you guys doing? How y'all doing? How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? How y'all doing? Give yourselves a round of applause. A round of applause for the staff. A round of applause for the wait staff. A round of applause for the bartender. Round of applause. Give it up. Give it up for everybody. Yeah, you know what? Give it up for giving it up. Yeah. There you go. Clap your hands. They're just like, are you going to tell a joke? I don't know.
I don't have a joke.
But I didn't feel like most comics that go up now, if they feel like they're going to bomb or something, they feel like, I did shitty. Nobody, everybody's going to hate me.
Yeah.
I didn't have that feeling because my unit was there. I had a feeling of, yeah, if I'm not funny, that's fine. I'll walk away. But if you are going to say something and you're going to heckle me, let you know that there's a unit of Marines sitting right here.
You're surrounded.
Right. Like they're going to go to death with me.
Right.
So if they're like, if you attack our boy, you got to go up against all of us. So I had a booth full of Marines. Yeah. So I was like, I feel safe. If this bombs, oh well.
I wish a motherfucker would. So that's a nice supportive crowd, man. And so you went up, you had a good time, and you were like, I'm coming back next week.
I did 3 more. I did 3 more shows, and then I got out of the military and I stopped doing comedy like altogether. I did it for like a year, and then I stopped and I got into construction. I was driving armored trucks for a little while. I drove armored trucks out here in Oakland for about a year and a half.
Oh,
and then when I got back into construction,
that's not funny.
No. It wasn't funny doing it.
And then you got into construction.
I got into construction after that, and every time we would commute out to the city, people would how was it? Everybody started requesting to ride in the car that I was riding in,
right? Because
the whole trip out and back, I would mess with every single person. Like I would ask people for money when we're coming up to the toll booth in the car. Like I would just roll my window down. I would reach over and knock on people's windows. Hey, you got $1? I'm short. Yeah, I've made $6 one time from the edge of where it turns by the maze before it gets to the bridge. I made $6 in that span.
Man,
yeah, and we had a fast power or fast track, so we did
right. You didn't need the $6,
but I still made it.
So then, now, and it's a gift that you had since being a kid. So now you start to identify and you get to know yourself as an adult and you realize I have a calling. When did that calling come for you? When did you start in earnest after you got out of the service?
What do you mean?
Like how long did you do construction?
8 years, 7 years, 8 years.
Okay.
But I was doing construction.
Some point in the midst of that, you were like, I got to find me an open mic or something.
Right. I would do 12 hours a day swinging a hammer.
Yep.
And then go straight to the open mic right after work.
Wow.
And then get back home at like 10, 12 o'clock at night. Wake up at 2:30 in the morning, right back out to work again.
Yeah.
How long has this been going on? Like how long have you been actively working on your comedy career now?
Let's see. It's 2002.
So a good 13 years now then. Or you're on your 13th year.
I'm on 14. 2001. Okay. 2001 is when I went. I mean, I was doing everything from 98, where I was doing shows and then I would stop and then I would stop doing shows. But like 2000, 2001, I went, you know what? Maybe I can really do this. And I started doing more open mics, more shows. I started getting booked. You start doing those shows where, hey, I'll let you do time, but I don't have any money for you.
Right.
But then at that time I was like, dude, I'm making $1,200 a week swinging a hammer. Like, I don't really care if you're paying me
$50. Thanks.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for the gas money, but I don't even need that. I'm fine.
Yeah, you were going up to get your chops together.
That's it. And that's all I was trying to do in the beginning was do that. And that's one of the hardest things I get with comedians, young comedians now that want to be comics. They just want to jump in and be like, okay, I can just get paid. Now it's time to get paid. I got 15 minutes. I should get paid. I'm at least a host. Where's my money? And it's like, it don't work that way.
Right.
You got to have your certificates. I call it.
Yeah, sure.
I never made myself a headliner. Like I've never came to somebody and said, I'm a headliner.
Right.
I let other people say that shit. I let the other bookers
You're a
say
headliner
that.
when somebody gets you on the bill to headline.
Correct.
That's
You're
that's
called
not
to
something
it.
you get to declare.
No, you get called to it. A lot
I
of
mean,
people.
you can say you're the third baseman.
You know how
You'll
many?
be the
You know how
third
many
baseman when
comedians
somebody-
will come up and tell you that they're a headliner? I got 45 minutes. I'm a headliner. I could do 45 minutes. Doing 45 is one thing, but what you do with that 45 is another.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot of people that can go up and do 35 minutes of material. Sure, you can do 35 minutes. Is it funny all
Is
the
it
way
good?
through? Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Is
No,
it
it's
tight?
not.
Yeah.
But they feel like, well, and then they say it. I'm a headliner. I even know comedians who will book rooms that they've never been in, and they would argue with the bookers about how they're a headliner. You know, and it's like, how can you tell somebody who has never seen you? Fine, I'm okay. You could say, okay, I'm good. I can do 45 minutes, but you're asking him to risk a whole weekend
Right.
on something he's never seen you do whatsoever.
Yeah, that's not something that you would do in a different trade.
No, at all.
Yeah.
At all. I'm not going to hire my plumber that I've never met before.
Right.
I want the guy that I know can do my pipes, that they can make it all right and make it everything done. I don't know if this guy can. It's not saying that I don't think you can.
Right.
It's just that I have never seen you do it.
And if you're
Especially-
listening to this podcast and you disagree with Sean Peabody and you are Billy Bean, I am a utility left fielder. If we're declaring shit.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and you can't just declare it. Like you gotta be called to it. I got called to headline because they were having problems finding headliners who could follow me. That's what was happening.
That's
had
what
grown.
that's
Yeah.
how it should be.
Yeah.
They,
I mean, that's how it is in anything else.
It was a bunch of stuff. It was that. It was audience members who were coming up to the booker saying, "Hey, when is Sean closing? Because
Right.
if he closes, I'll come back again.
Right.
I just want to see him do more time. I know he can do 20, 25, but I want to see him go longer. I'd rather just listen to Sean.
That's a good way to approach a lot of things too, is to create the focus on the quality. I'm going to work on my act, and the byproduct will be, if I'm being successful, the byproduct will be that I'm a headliner. You
Right.
know, I'm going to make more money. I'm still going to have to hustle, but I'm going to focus on the things that matter. Like we try to do on this show. We work on the show,
Right.
and let the rewards come when.
And see, and that's
in
the way
time.
it's supposed to be. You know, it was like when I got into comedy, there was no sense of money motivation. I had no money motivation for comedy, none whatsoever, because I had a job.
Yeah.
And I was making my money, so I wasn't worried about money at all. And I think that's why I enjoyed it the most, was because there was no stress on me to be good at it. It was like I can be good at it if I want to, but there was no stress to say you have to be because you got to make money.
Right.
So it was more like I want to be.
That's interesting, man, because a lot of people bring their craft to a level of professional proficiency because they're forced to economically. And there's something to be said for that. Okay, right on. You guys out there who are doing that, put the pressure on yourself. But is that more pure? I doubt it. You have the purity of saying, I just wanted to take my material and make it funnier and make it tighter and be better.
More relatable, more anything. It was all of that. But there was no stress on me to make that happen.
Right.
So I could do it at my own peril. And I noticed that if I was at my own peril, I actually went faster.
Okay.
I got into it a lot quicker because I was having fun. It wasn't a necessity. I didn't have to, oh my God, I got to make sure I get this booking. I got to make sure I do this. I got to make sure I get my headshots. I got to make sure. I wasn't worried about any of that. I was just worried about, hey, the mic's there. The folks are there. I want to make them laugh. I want to go. And then it was at a certain point where I actually watched folks just die laughing.
Yeah.
And I was like, was that me that did that? And then I just kind of flipped it and said, I think I could turn this into a business. I think I can make this into something
So
that
yeah,
can make money.
when did that happen? Because you've got $1,200 a week coming in, swinging a hammer, you're working 12 hours a day. At some point, you said, "I can't do this anymore. I've got to do this comedy."
When I started getting $1,200 a show,
Nice.
then it became to where, okay, I don't have to work a week. I can do one show and make that same amount of money.
Yeah.
And when it got to that point, that's when I was like, I can walk away from, which was good because I was breaking my back, I was breaking my knees. I mean,
Sure, it's hard.
I was a framer. I put up trusses, build homes. When I started making money off of that, when I started seeing when somebody goes, man, I'm going to give you $1,200 to come talk to my people for 40 minutes.
right.
I was like, really? Like,
There we go.
This is possible?
Time to take the bags off.
Right. And once I started asking for more time, our project managers, all them guys were just like, hey, man, you either work here or you don't. I'm like, well,
That's easy.
nice to know you.
Yeah.
You want some tickets for my show?
Right.
I think that's how I quit when I quit. I was like, hey, you want tickets for the next show? And he said yes. And then he ended up coming out too.
Right on.
But
When you see acts that aren't quite as developed as yours, whether you're at like at the Budweiser thing that Big Chuckles would do or something like that, do you have to restrain yourself? Can you watch? It's like a volleyball player when you go to the unit volleyball game and they're like, no, I don't want to play. No, thank you. Because they can't handle playing at a lower level. Your game is so developed. How do you sit in a room with less seasoned comics?
because I was there myself.
Okay.
There were other veterans that were in the room when I first started, and there were other cats that looked at me and they went, oh, shit, this guy again. He's going to go up there and tell that stupid-ass joke, and then maybe they'll laugh or maybe they weren't. But that's the peril that they're at. Me, honestly, I'm glad that they didn't say anything to me, about my terrible set. I mean, if I didn't figure out it on my own, then I wouldn't have known where I needed to do my improvements. But it comes with the territory. You got to see them out there. If they approach me and ask me what I have seen, then I'm going to be honest.
Right.
I'm going to be like, you know what, you need to work on this, or you should work on this. Instead of doing this, why don't you do it this way? Instead of saying the line this way, say it this way. It sounds a little funnier if you're asking me.
Right.
But I don't approach them and go, hey, your shit was horrible. I don't know why you're here. Do you know what an open mic is? You should try a couple of them. There are some folks that I want to say that to,
Yeah.
but that's not me.
Right.
And if I do that, then I'm mixing myself in where I'm worrying more about what other folks are doing and less focused on what I need to do. So I just try to keep it to myself. If they come to me and they ask, I'm going to answer honestly. I'm not going to just approach them and be like, your shit was horrible. Why are you doing this thing? Leave the mic alone.
So you teach a stand-up class back in Boise, huh?
I do.
How frequently does that class meet?
Every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. at the local comedy club downtown.
Wow. What's the name of that club?
Liquid Laughs. It used to be called the Funny Bone. It was the Funny Bone in Boise.
Okay.
The Funny Bone closed and then opened it up to Liquid. The owner in there, he asked me if I would teach a class to help the scene because the scene's only like 40 comics.
Yeah.
The whole scene.
Man, that's awesome to see a club do that and cultivate the scene.
Well,
And I get that you kind of got to do that in Boise because you're up there. And if you have a scene, a burgeoning scene, you want to develop it. So you have.
Yeah, but you got to look at the motives.
Uh-huh.
The motives are if I create my local scene and get them better.
Right. Then I don't have to pay these guys
Boom.
$2,000 a night
Boom.
to drive up here from
Boom.
Portland or whatever.
That's it. And then you notice that every time you come through there, the features and the host are always local folks.
Yeah.
And the only one that's ever different is the headliner.
Right.
But with his
There's
local.
nothing wrong with that, though.
No, there isn't. There's nothing wrong with that because we look at it as going, okay, he's helping at the scene. He's giving more work to comedians. This club is backing the comedians.
Yeah.
But on the same point, it's also helping his pocketbook.
Sure.
So, now he's like, oh, I used to spend $2,500 a month to get comics here.
Well, we're talking about mutually beneficial arrangements. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I get that. But at the same point, it's kind of like saying, okay, I can take advantage of this because it's going to help me go this way.
Yeah.
Right.
I look at it all the way through, and I don't mind, and I don't even charge nobody to take my class. It's a free class.
Wow.
So any comic or any person that's interested in doing stand-up comedy, they can come to my class for free, sit down, and we go over everything. We go over writing, we go over performing. I can't teach anybody how to be funny.
Right.
But I can teach you.
But there are building blocks, and there are things that you got to do to develop an
fundamentals,
act.
right? There are fundamentals that have to be learned in it, and that's all I teach. I teach, this is the job of a host, this is the job of a feature, this is the job of a headliner, which I think the host has the hardest job out of all of them because that person's got to go up there all the time. He's got to introduce folks. You got to make sure that whatever act you're bringing up isn't coming up to a cold stage. They got to come up there. If another comic bombed. You got to warm it. Yeah, you got to warm them back up before you bring up the next one. So I mean, there's a lot of structure to it.
Yeah,
it's not just hey, I got a funny joke, I want to say it, and that's it. It's like there's a lot of structures to it. There's timing, there's delivery, there's setup, punches.
Well, if you're not teaching how to be funny, then what do you do with the timing and the setup and the delivery? You're just kind of giving them. I mean, how do you teach that? If you're not teaching being funny, you kind of are teaching being funny.
All I'm teaching is timing and delivery.
Yeah.
They're already funny. The material is theirs. It's just that they're coming to me saying, hey, should I say it this way or should I say it this way?
Okay.
And I'm going, we'll try it this way.
You teach the craft of Well, when you have something to say, you got to figure out how to say it.
Correct.
When you have something to say, you got to figure out how to lead into it.
Correct.
Things like that. How disciplined a writer do you expect to walk in there to be successful at your class?
Tell you the truth, I don't, because I'm not a writer.
Wow.
I don't write. I never had a piece of paper on stage.
Are you got to be kidding me?
You can ask any you can even ask Big Chuck. You can ask cats who've known me for years doing comedy. Ask them how many times
You don't have a notebook.
Nope. I don't.
God damn.
And I've never been on stage with a piece of paper. Not once. Even when I was doing open mics.
I appreciate never being on stage with a piece of paper, but I'm blown away that you don't have a notebook.
I don't.
So where do the jokes? Where are they created then? If they're not captured in the notebook, they're captured somewhere.
They're captured here.
And then you're working on the stuff in real time with
Pretty
other
much.
people. Okay.
I have this thing. I don't know if it's just me, but like take movies for instance.
Mm-hmm.
In the 80s, you can ask me about any movie. You can actually play a movie without me looking, and if I hear it, I can tell you what movie it is, even just from the beginning song. But that's the way I handle my sets. Like if I'm sitting here talking to you guys and we come up with something, I'll store that. And then I'll be able to rewrite it in my head to where I can go on stage and I can perform it. Because for me, I think it should never leave here. Mm-hmm. Because when you're on stage, you don't have a piece of paper. You're not supposed to, especially as a headliner, you're not supposed to have notes. So you have to teach yourself to go, okay, I got to go off the top of my head every time. Boom, 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 boom. So you get into that habit of doing that. I've had pieces of paper that I have jotted things down on.
Yeah.
It's not structured. If you read anything that I've written down, it would say garbage can, tennis ball, kitty cat.
Yeah,
Dodge
just the
Charger.
things that you remember to bring back that sequence of whatever it was you were thinking
But
about.
yeah, but if
just things that jogged the notions in your head.
But if I write out that whole thing, then I'm cheating myself.
Right.
Because I'm trying to keep myself to a script rather than let myself tell the story.
Right.
So I just put key points, and that way it forces me to tell the story.
You know, it seems like that does actually suit you because you were raised by women, and you use emotion in your comedy,
Right.
and so you don't need notes for that, and you are driven by images.
Right.
Yeah, and it's an emotional ride. So
And it's
you
an
can see
observational,
how
yeah.
the emotions kind of lead into each other.
Right.
And
I like it.
I'll tell you what, listeners out there, if you have not seen or heard Sean
shit.
Peabody, motherfucker, go to wherever Sean Peabody is playing close to you. Somebody drove from goddamn Ukiah
Yep.
to come see you tonight.
Yep.
And, you know, if I had heard that at the beginning of the show, I would have thought, this fool is out of his mind. But now I realize, yeah, man, shit, that's worth a drive. I hope he got a hotel.
Yeah. I know him too. His name is Derek.
Yeah.
He came in. He had the black hat on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Derek. He's a good kid.
Man.
And yeah, there's folks that come from all that. And one of the things that I got a compliment on tonight was how I wasn't vulgar. I wasn't a vulgar person. I wasn't up there talking about like my dick or anything like that, or I wasn't giving you guys a curse show where I was just fuck all over the place.
Yeah. I didn't feel like you did that on purpose. I mean, just the flip side of that compliment is you were just naturally funny with this subject matter that happened to be right down the middle of the road that we all could like.
That's the illusion.
Not that you had to be afraid of being vulgar. Like you didn't shy away from being vulgar because there were 10-year-olds in the room.
No.
You were just being you. That's just you.
That's the illusion.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the magic trick.
Uh-huh.
Is I have to make it look like it's just natural. No, there's a big piece of me that just wants to cuss people out.
Yeah.
There's a big thing that just wants me to just tell you, hey, you know what? I just want to beat the shit out of you.
Right.
And I want to say it, and for me, I don't want to do it that way.
it seems like you are a little bit inspired by that Bill Cosby era where he talks about his kid.
Nope. I never even watched Bill Cosby.
Really?
I knew he was there, and I've seen him do sets. But me, I was more into Richard Pryor. I was more into Eddie Murphy, especially Eddie Murphy. Being in the 80s, that's all I wanted. Eddie Murphy Raw, Eddie Murphy Delirious, Saturday Night Live, like anything Eddie Murphy did. Beverly Hills Cop, 1, 2, everything. Golden Child. Eddie Murphy was my favorite.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't have went the Bill Cosby route either. And that's, I think, what I'm trying to say about your act being fairly wholesome, not vulgar, but not really wholesome. I mean, you still told jokes about growing up in the hood.
Right.
You still told jokes about not having a whole yard. You still told those jokes about, yeah, man, we had to build. If we wanted to play with something, we would build it out of what was laying around.
Yep.
You know, and those kind of things sort of recall the Richard Pryor environment, the Eddie Murphy environment.
Right. That wouldn't be too funny anyway.
Yeah.
Tell us about this DVD you got going on. What's going on with this thing?
This was the first I have 2 DVDs out already, and this was the next one. I figured I'm playing in my hometown. I'm playing at the home theater. I have memories in that theater.
Yep.
And since it was going to be that way, my buddy comes down. He works videography. He's been working videography for like years. And he's like, you know what? I'll bring the cameras. I'll bring the stuff down there. We'll film it. We'll get you a nice DVD made. So now I got something solid, because I do have a lot of people who can't come out to my shows who are like, oh, you're here, you're there. I just want to see a show. Do you sell DVDs or something like that? And that's another thing with merchandise, is that I don't put merchandise together until I have a demand.
Right.
There's a lot of comics who put merchandise together first. And then they go out and like, oh, my merchandise came back. Well, of course.
And then you're sitting on a table full of T-shirts
Correct.
nobody wants.
Nobody wants them, because you didn't start out with the demand. You got to start with the demand first.
Right. Yeah.
Once you start with the demand, you meet the demand, you keep going there. That way you don't end up with a whole bunch of T-shirts and DVDs in your garage.
That's a nice approach, man.
If anybody wants to come and check out my shows or anything like that, if they want to see my dates, my website's always updated. All my show times, everything I go on. All they got to do is go to thehawaiiancomedian.com.
Thehawaiiancomedian.com.
Yep. Pops it right back up.
Thehawaiiancomedian.com. Sean Peabody on Facebook. What's your Twitter handle?
Sean P got jokes.
Sean P got jokes.
Yep. And if you want to hit me on Twitter, it's Hawaiian Comic 1. Number 1. Hawaiian Comic 1 on Twitter.
Is there a Hawaiian Comic 2?
You know what's funny? There's a guy in Hawaii right now who's a comedian, and he went to go get his website built. So he found the domain, and he wanted the domain to be the Hawaiian Comedian.
Yeah.
So when he punched it in, he found out it was already taken. So he went to go do a search on it to see it, and he found out the Hawaiian Comedian was living in Boise, Idaho.
That would have made me upset.
He hit me on Facebook, and he was like, I had to check out your stuff. Sorry, dude. He was like, but I just, I want to know, how is Hawaiians in Boise? I didn't know they existed.
Yeah.
I was just making sure you were a real Hawaiian. So then I looked up his stuff. And he's Hawaiian and Samoan, but he's like 6'9", and he's a comedian, and he's huge.
Gracious.
And he said one line that I was like, there's times that comedians have said lines like, oh shit, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
And he said one when he was up there. He was like, you know what, Polynesian, Samoans, Hawaiians? He goes, you know what we didn't have to worry about when we were little? Kidnappings. And I sat there and went, damn it.
Who's going to pick you up and put you in a van?
That's what he said. He said kidnapping a Samoan kid is like stealing the rhino from the zoo. Like, once you get it home, what are you supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
And I said, damn it.
That is the greatest compliment that an artist can pay another compliment. Yeah. I wish I would have thought of that.
I wish I would have, man. And it was funny, and it was the way it came out, and I was like, man, I need to come up with more Hawaiian stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody wants to find me, they can find me HawaiianComedian.com. In fact, if they go to my website,
find him, y'all. Find him.
My Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram, all that stuff is on my website, and they can connect to it right there.
There you go. The Hawaiian Comedian.
The HawaiianComedian.com.
Sean Peabody, everybody. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yo.
Appreciate that.